What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you a test hand combo video for the Blue Eyes Tenpai profile I showed you all the other day. Now a lot of you were requesting combo videos. I thought this would be the best way to show you how the deck operates, because your main bridge from Blue Eyes or sometimes Tenpai into the other engine will come through Ancient Fairy Dragon. So that's where the deck gets its most synergy, but the benefit on top of that as well is any Tenpai starter can work you into the Blue Eyes Link 1, and then off of the back of that you can work your way into Blue Eyes combo, additional normal summon, you name it. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to do 2 test stands going first and 2 going second to show you how this deck operates on a randomized basis. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. After a very decent shuffle and a good old cut, our starting hand of 5 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we got loads of Tenpai. Now, obviously, the biggest weakness of this hand is, or like the one that's not going to do you much help, is hard opening up Genroku. But because you play, because of the hits on the ban list, you do have to still play Genroku. The Dora as well will come up later on, because at the end of the day, this is still a really good card that can help you work into a Pydra. It can help you work into a Genroku. It helps you get into your engine, which is what makes it so important. Now with a hand like this, what you're trying to do if you're going first is you're trying to make sure you can either start off with your Tenpais, which gives you access to your Sangan Climbers, so you're set up ready for the next turn, and then work your way that way. You also want to be starting off with these to turn them into the Link 1 to then start working your ways for the additional normal summons and so on and so forth. One of the biggest things you need to be careful of is if you get hit with a hand trap, but to be honest, straight away, starting off with something like a Pydra, that usually baits out a lot of hand traps, because your opponent usually wants to go Ash Blossom to stop you getting into the Kaiman, or they might hold back the Ash Blossom for the Kaiman later on, where you're going to be making so many different plays to kind of bait that out. This N also draws out Imperms, Veilers, you name it, it will be pulling out anything that wants to stop it. Now honestly, because I have a way to get to the Sangan summoning, I'm just going to go directly for the Sangan Kaiman. And if my opponent is trying to think like 4D chess, at the end of the day, if I've won the dice roll and decided to go first, they're going to be like, why is Tenpai going first? So they're going to be a little bit more cautious than usual. And that's kind of why you'd want to hold back as much information as you possibly can. So we'll then turn the Pydra into the Link 1, wherever it may be. There we go. This will then get us access to the Mausoleum, wherever that may be. Right at the bottom of the deck, right at the top of the deck. Yeah, there you go, right at the top of the deck. It's going to get us access to the Mausoleum. We're going to activate the Mausoleum. We're going to target the Spirit. Now, of course, you could use your additional normal summon to normal summon down the Maiden, but you actually really don't want to be doing that. You're going to want to save that for Sage, which we'll get throughout this play anyway. So Mausoleum, target Spirit, send in Blue Eyes. There you go, that's part 1 done. Now, to get your most value out of this, this is when you're going to go, cool, Maiden to get your True Light. Place the True Light face up, and now of course you can activate the Spirit's effect, tributing it off to bring back the Blue Eyes White Dragon, which in turn will bring back the Maiden. So what you've tried to do is you've tried to make sure you've got access to your Kaiman. It also means that during your opponent's next turn, yes, of course you could go into a Spirit Dragon, into a Ancient Fairy Dragon, turn this into the Sangan Summoning, but you still want to have the ability that you can either set the Kaiman to search out the Chandra for the next turn, or of course you can just hold back some forms of interaction. You don't need to be rushing headfirst to get everywhere you need to. You're then going to activate the True Light, and this is the other benefit of having so many different Tenpai cards, is you just have free discard fodder. So it's going to let you place the Wishes face down. You're then going to activate the Wishes. Let's get rid of the Genroku, because obviously the Dora can lead me to a Pydra during my opponent's turn. This will then give me access to... Now, Raw, if you want to extend further, I'm going to go more defensive. I'm going to go for Majesty and Sage. I'm then going to be able to use my additional normal summon of the Sage. This will then allow me to search out either a hand trap in the form of Effect Veiler, which can be very helpful, or of course Maiden if you didn't already have it. We're going to work our way to the Effect Veiler, because now I've basically got a non-target destruction plus the Effect Veiler, and I'm now going to go down Blue Eyes combo. So this is where you're going to get the benefit of being able to go first, which is really, really helpful. So just double checking on the Genroku. Obviously you can't really bring these back or anything else from that one. And keeping in mind as well that when you do use the Genroku, so it's last hit effect, so you tribute this card, special on a Tenpai monster from the deck except itself. You can't special on for the rest of the turn except dragons, which you absolutely don't mind about. Obviously, you need to make sure that if you do that, you're going to make sure you special summoned your Maiden back first, but everything else should be a normal summon off the back of the Sage of Visor Blue as well. On top of that as well, this one you take no battle damage from battles involving fire dragons. Very important that you know that one, because obviously it's not going to be every dragon you have, so keep all of that in mind. So with just one card, we've been able to present this board. Now, obviously, it's not the most broken board in the world, but with one card, we've replenished our entire hand. We've got a Battle Phase route through Sangan Kaiman. We've got an Ash Blossom, an Effect Veiler, and a Majesty, and then a starter again with the Dora. So we're still in a very, very good position. Now, you've got two different options here. You can go option number one, which will basically just be, cool, synchro these two together, go into your Spirit Dragon, hold your board there. So that's option number one. Not so great. Option number two is you tag out the Spirit Dragon once you get it. This then gives you your Ancient Fairy Dragon. Ancient Fairy Dragon's effect will destroy the Mausoleum. This will then allow you to gain 1,000 life points and get you hold of Sangan Summoning. You can now choose to, if you want to, activate the Sangan Summoning, and the reason you do that is you can special summon a level 4 from the hand off of the back of the Ancient Fairy Dragon, but you're going to be putting a lot on the board, which really means you can actually hold these back. It's entirely up to you. Like, what I'm saying about this one is if I activate this just to push that little bit further, which isn't going to get me a huge amount, like, yes, of course, I could go Chandra and then try to revive certain things later on in the play, but honestly, I would just hold this back in the hand, so I've now got all of this advantage. Synchro these two together gets me a Crystal Wing. Now, obviously, in an ideal world, you could also go for something like a Hieratic Seals instead, if you can get another dragon on board, which you can do by turning the Sage into the Link 1. But I feel that a Crystal Wing can just be just as much of a, like, your opponent going, what? And then you're holding back the Crystal Wings as well, so you've got this for during your opponent's turn. So, just as we end our turn here, what we'll do is we'll make sure we set the Majesty, which gives us a guaranteed pop 1. You can set the Sangan Kaiman. Personally, I would rather just hold on to it. I don't think there's any need to reveal more. Like, they know you've got Majesty. Their chances are they're probably going to make this be Majesty, so you'd only be setting this as a bluff. And I'd much rather hold this for during the battle phase in the next turn. Now, because this deck is a lot more of an aggressive push, I'm actually going to show you how you play for your opponent's turn, what interactions you've got, and then what else you can add to it. Of course, if your opponent does send your True Light from field to grave, that will destroy what you currently have, but you still have Majesty to back you up, you still have Effect Veiler to back you up, and you'll still have Ash Blossom to back you up. So as they're trying to build the board to break this, of course, you'll Ash them, you'll Veiler them. Veiler is the only guarantee because we knew that we searched this out. Ash is obviously just luck of the draw. We'll then activate the Majesty. The Majesty, of course, will only be able to reveal one Blue Eyes, but that still gives you a non-target destruction. And then you've got two options here. If you're trying to build for more aggression in the next turn, you make sure you use True Light in the end phase, which will allow you to bring back Blue Eyes, which in turn will allow you to bring back Maiden. Otherwise, during your opponent's turn, you can activate True Light to set one of your Blue Eyes spell or traps that's different from what you have in the graveyard, which will get you the Roar, which will allow you to extend during your opponent's turn as well. It just depends on which one you want access to. So we're going to go with the True Light to revive, so we've got this in play. We're then going to draw for turn, doesn't matter what it is, so Go Soaker is absolutely fine. So now as this currently stands, not only do you have another start in the form of the Dora, so you go normal summon Dora. If it's normal, you get to add a level 4 or lower fire, so this is going to get you direct access to your Chandra, which now just acts as another extender. You've got Crystal Wing to protect you from a Nibiru, not that that's ever really going to come back up into this position here. You've got the ability to synchro these two together, which will then allow you to go into the level 9 Spirit Dragon. And this is all before you kind of lock yourself. You want to make sure you do this before you lock yourself. And then you still have True Light, which can revive these two again, because you did this during your opponent's turn. So that's even more of an aggressive push. So just by going, cool, True Light, bring this back. Maiden comes back. And then what you still have as well is you still got the Wishes in the graveyard. And this is where you get to clear off your opponent's monsters. So you go Wishes in the graveyard, banish this. Obviously, you could have done it in the previous turn as well. But Wishes, equipped Neo, fuse these off, go into Tyrant. Now, Tyrant on its own, I'm just going to put this in the extra monster zone because it's actually going to be quite important that we leave a space free here. Now, I can obviously very easily go special summon down Chandra, synchro these two together, get me into a Bident. Bident can bring back a Chandra as well. Happy days. This is probably going to be more of an issue being on the board, but again, it's not the end of the world because you can Spirit tag out if you want to, and then that in turn will allow you to kind of synchro some more plays. So you'd go into something like a Moonlight to bounce. But what I'm trying to say is at this moment in time, now that we've got Tyrant Dragon, we just go, cool, Tyrant Dragon, clear all of our opponent's monsters off. It lets us reset any traps, so we actually get to reset the Majesty if we want to. So we'll reset this. And then this is going in for 25, 26, 3,000, 15. That should be game. If by somehow you haven't been able to complete game, you still have loads more that you can do. You would need to make sure that if you're not going to be able to complete game, you don't bring back the Maiden because that would leave you with an empty space on the board, which is absolutely fine. Because then what happens here is when you attack with a Chandra, obviously you have the ability to special summon one from the deck. That could be your Fadra, but you're actually going to hold the Fadra back for your Sangan Kaiman, which of course would be your Pydra. Pydra can then attack. You've then got the ability of going, cool, Chandra or Pydra, synchro these two together, get you into another 7. So you can go into your Meteor Burst. There's another 25 on the board. Not that, again, you really, really need it. You can also, still in the battle phase, Sangan Kaiman. This is just me way and truly overextending. Like, you don't need to be doing half of this, but it's just to show you how much more you can do. Add the Fadra, summon the Fadra. Synchro summon after you've attacked all of these, which is fine. You would have attacked more than 3 times, but the idea is just with the Fadra, you get a level 3 non-tuner. This is then going to get you into a 10, so you can go into a Trident or you can go into a Transcendent. Doesn't make any difference. Attack, again, with this one. Obviously, if you go in Trident, you can obviously clear off more space. It's up to you. But you're just going to attack with your Transcendent. You'll still have Bident that can come back and attack. So, like, this is one of them ones that even if you wanted to take the Spooky Dogwood play and your opponent drops a Spooky Dogwood on you, you'd still have enough to, like, burn for an OTK. It also gives you that ability that if you do activate Prosperity, you'll still be able to burn for an OTK because you're adding your Blue Eyes to your normal Tenpai board. Like, the normal Tenpai board, within reason, as long as you pilot it correctly, can get you an OTK. Whether that be through an empty board or whether that be for a board that has been semi-set up, you should still be able to complete an OTK. The benefit that this version of the deck gives you is rather than going solely all on board breakers, it actually gives you that ability to go as a go first option, which searches out all the pieces you might need. You start off with your Tenpais. Obviously, you're telegraphing that Tenpais are going to be a threat for your opponent, but they'll be so worried about stopping the Blue Eyes that your Tenpai then run free. Or if they're then so preoccupied by stopping the Tenpai, your Blue Eyes then run free. So you've got like these 2 different options that are really going to cause issues because the Blue Eyes don't need to rely on Synchro Summoning. So if they do stop you with a D barrier, you still have the ability of going down Link route. You've also got the ability to go into the Trident Dragon. The Tyrant Dragon to then clear off all of your opponent's monsters, and you're still going to be ending the board with incredibly powerful monsters to kind of help you do that anyway. So what we'll do now is we'll do another shuffle up and we'll do another test hand going first, and then we'll start shifting to going second so you can see the aggressive nature of the deck. I'll probably get asked the same question, does this deck want to go first or second? Honestly, it doesn't really mind because the Blue Eyes themselves can OTK, the Blue Eyes themselves can obviously set up a board. Tenpai can set up an okay board going first, nothing too wild, but you should be able to bridge into Blue Eyes relatively easily. Okay, so our next test stand of 5 will be Ash, Ogre, True Light, Blue Eyes, and Genroku. So it's actually probably a semi-good hand for an example. So this is not an ideal hand at all. This hand, in theory, technically sucks. So you will need to use your normal summon on the Genroku, which is absolutely fine. Now, this will lock you into special summoning dragons. When I look at the rest of my hand, you do need to kind of think ahead of how much further am I actually going to be able to go. Now, I can't bridge into Sage. I can't bridge into Maiden. What I can do is I can work my way from Genroku to Pydra to Sangan Summoning and then go from there. So we're going to normal summon down the Genroku. You'll then use the effect to tribute this off to special a Tenpai monster from the deck except itself. You are locked into dragons for the rest of the turn, which is fine because that's what we're going to be doing anyway. The reason you do this is this is going to get you your access to your Pydra. Pydra's effect will now trigger, which will give you a follow-up of the Sangan Kaiman. Of course, you could go for the Sangan Summoning if you want to. We're just going to go for the Kaiman. We'll hold that back. You'll then be able to turn this into the Link 1, and this is the benefit of opening up a Blue Eyes. It's not the end of the world, but it's not great either. So you'll turn this into the Link 1. Link 1 will grab you the Mausoleum. Now, honestly, there's no point in really using the Mausoleum. Yes, I could activate it, targeting the Spirit, sending the Blue Eyes from deck to the grave. Absolutely fine. Not an issue doing that, but it's not really going to let you push anywhere farther. So what you can do here is you can just tribute off your Spirit to get your Blue Eyes to the board. Again, not ideal. I'm not saying that this is the most ideal route of play because we haven't got access to our secondary engine. But what we now do have is we can set the True Light. Again, you could activate the Mausoleum to get a Blue Eyes in the graveyard so that True Light has one to bring back. But obviously I want to activate this during my opponent's turn to get me wishes. So I'm just going to show you how you play through a really weird hand, because this end board is going to be terrible. But it still threatens with Kaiman and it still threatens with the Mausoleum. So you're going to pass your opponent's turn here, right? So during your opponent's turn, you're going to Ash them, you're going to Ogre them. That's 2 forms of disruption that's going to cause them issues. If they kill the Blue Eyes, you just go, cool, True Light, bring back the Blue Eyes, and that's another roadblock for them to deal with. Of course, you can set the Sangan Kaiman. It really is up to you because that will give you access to your Genroku, and then Genroku pushes it. But like I've said before, I like to hold this for during the battle phase, or like my first battle phase, to help me complete an OTK. Obviously, you can wall up a little bit more with the Tenpais, which might be where you want to hold on to the Kaiman or set the Kaiman. It really is up to you. So what we'll do here is, let's say they kill the Blue Eyes. We don't get OTK'd, we'll activate the True Light to get us our wishes. That's going to give us access into our Blue Eyes engine, okay? So shuffle this up. Draw for turn. Now, I'm not going to, no matter what we draw here, I'm not going to count it as a relevant card. This is going to be a blank. Okay, so a Sage. But we're just going to count it as a blank just to show you with the guaranteed cards that we have where you go from here. So you can activate the wishes. Wishes will get rid of the blank, so it doesn't matter what it is. If they waste the ash on the wishes, you go, okay, whatever. I've still got True Light to bring back Blue Eyes if I want it to. I've still got the ability of activating True Light to set a Roar that will be different from this, which will still get me Blue Eyes into rotation. So it's really not the end of the world. So you start off with the wishes. Wishes will grab you Sage as your new starter, and then it will grab you, again, because we're going second, we want to be aggressive, we'll grab the Roar. Normal summon down the Sage. This will then bait out an interaction from your opponent, whether it be an Effect Veiler, whether it be an Imperm, you name it. This will then get you hold of your... I mean, Maiden's not really worth it because your True Light's still on the board. But this is where like playing the odd Master is not that bad of an idea. Wherever a Master may be. There it is. So add a Master. Whether you want to play Master or not is entirely up to you. But this just gives you the ability. Yes, of course, I can link this into the link 1. I mean, we're not going to get much advantage off of the back of it, but it does give me the ability to go into Spirit. Spirit's not going to do anything because I already have Mausoleum, which is fine. Activate Mausoleum. I can use the effect if I want to target the Spirit to send the Blue Eyes from deck to the grave, just to get my second Blue Eyes out of the deck into rotation, which is absolutely fine. So let's do this. Target this. Send Blue Eyes. What you need to make sure is that, I mean, again, this is where it kind of plays through Nibiru as well, quite relatively, because now what we'll do is we'll go, cool, normal summon Master, Master's effect, bring back Sage to the hand, absolutely fine. I can activate Sage, targeting the Master to turn it into a Blue Eyes, which will be Jet Dragon. Keep in mind, we haven't actually special summoned anything that isn't a dragon right now, so we don't really care about this lock here. You can then activate Spirit. Spirit will tribute itself off to bring you back your Blue Eyes. And we still haven't used True Light during our turn. Remember, we used it during our opponent's turn. You can activate Roar if you want to bring back the Blue Eyes from the graveyard that we've just sent. Or, of course, you would search it from the, summon it from the deck. It doesn't make much of a difference. The only issue is that Blue Eyes will come into defense, and there isn't really a synchro play that you make between your Tenpais and your Blue Eyes. So, again, you could just hold this back if you want to. Really is up to you. So now what you do is you go battle phase. You go 3k with Jet Dragon, 3k with Blue Eyes. Of course, the Jet Dragon will also allow you to bounce one of the cards as well, which is really quite helpful. Still during your opponent's battle phase, your battle phase, activate the Sangan Kaiman. Add either a Genroku or Fadra, whatever, because you're doing it during the battle phase. We can then Fadra. Actually, what have we got in rotation? Fadra could bring back Genroku. Genroku will just, I mean, you'd very easily go into Chandra, but this would then bring back Genroku. Genroku's effect, tribute this off, obviously locking ourselves in the dragons, but we really don't mind. Chandra, attack, revive, Pydra. Now keep in mind, these two have already attacked. So you're already 2 out of your 3 attacks, and you attack with these or do whatever you need to, right? So you've done what you need to. Now what you have is you've got the ability of going, cool, Chandra, Fadra, Pydra, doesn't matter. Synchro these two into the Bident. Bident, bring back Chandra. Now again, you've got the option of going, cool, so we've already done our 3 attacks. So let's say these 2 have attacked and Pydra's attacked, right? You can now attack with Chandra again, well over the 3, attack with the Bident. Then you can use the ability of synchroing your Pydra with your Bident. Synchro those 2 together, go into a 10, whether you want to go into Trident Dragon or a Transcendent Dragon, go into either one of those. You've attacked more than 3 times, so your Bident can come back, attack again, attack with the Transcendent. This would have shifted everything to attack, so if you want to make sure you do that before you attack with these, that's absolutely fine as well, because then it means when these attack again later on, everything will be guaranteed to be an attack. Now, that's without going through the Tyrant Dragon. Of course, you still have the ability of going into a Tyrant Dragon, which would basically just replace this Blue Eyes, very simply, with your Tyrant Dragon. And your Tyrant Dragon would have cleared everything off. And this would attack through more than 3 times. And you just go, cool, still got Jet Dragon, swinging for 3k, swinging for 26, 15, 3k. And you still would have previously to that had a Fadra and a Pydra. So the actual aggressive ceiling of this deck is mental. And the fact you can do it all during your opponent's battle phase, it means that even if you go into Tyrant Dragon, I keep saying Tyrant Dragon, to threaten the battle phase, and they go, right, well, I need to Nibiru you here. You go, cool, Nibiru, give you a giant Nibiru, and you go, right, let's go into the battle phase. And that's if you haven't used True Light's effect to revive a Blue Eyes. You go into the battle phase, you go, Kaiman. And the only way you lose that is if they hold the Ash Blossom back. And for them to have hold the Ash Blossom back, they need to have Ash and Nibiru. And at those points, you would then kind of dictate and be like, right, well, they haven't, either you don't think they've got an Ash to use, or if they use the Ash, you know your Kaiman's going to be safe. So, yeah, it's really, really aggressive, this deck. It's like, but the benefit of the Blue Eyes is it just gives it a much better defensive start than Sylve's Pass. Obviously, that hand wasn't ideal, but you still saw that we had the balance of hand traps. Someone else asked me the other day, like, I mean, you play such a big range of hand traps. Like, what are we on? 3 Imperm, 3 Ashes, 2 Ogres, 2 Veilers. So 10 hand traps already, so a quarter of the deck. You could take that quarter out, and that could be board breakers. So if you wanted to, you could play Lightning Storms and everything like that. You could play Droplets. But because you actually want this deck to go first, and you don't care if you lose the dice or have to go second, it still puts in a huge amount of work. So now I'm going to shuffle this up. We're now going to cut it up, and now we're going to go second, which is where the aggressive nature will happen. So our starting hand of 5 will be 1, 2. This guy loves my hand. 3, 4, 5. So let's say we impermed our opponent, and 6 will be Fardra. So again, in like Tenpai terms, seeing these 2 in the hand is pretty standard. Like you see that every single time. But again, you're going to go normal summon Pydra. Pydra's effect is going to bait out an interaction. Yes, of course, if we don't get access to the Sangan Kaiman, it's not the end of the world, but it does make us a lot more susceptible when we try to get to Nibiru or anything else. Because if they stop the Pydra, you go, okay, cool, Pydra into Link 1. Link 1 can work its way. You've got Maiden to get into the Blue Eyes combo. You'll then be able to get into your Ancient Fairy Dragon. Ancient Fairy Dragon will give you access to your Sangan summoning. Actually, I'll tell you what, I'll play it out as if Pydra has been stopped. That's probably going to be more helpful for you now. So we're still trying to look for the OTK, okay? Pydra gets stopped. Don't know by what, but as long as it doesn't destroy the Pydra. If it does destroy the Pydra, again, that's not an issue because you just go Mausoleum of White and get your additional normal summon. But let's say, okay, this is game 1 and we've gone second. So we lost the dice roll, they made us go second. We normal summon Pydra. Straight away our opponents will be like, right, they're on Tenpai. So we'll turn this into the Link 1. They'll be like, oh, this is a little bit weird. Link 1 obviously would attempt to get Mausoleum, but we already got it, annoyingly. They then activate the Mausoleum. Mausoleum, target Spirit, send in Blue Eyes. Okay, now they're like, what the hell? They're on Blue Eyes Tenpai. This is wild. What does this deck do? So then what you do here is you go Maiden, get you the True Light. And now the only weak point now is that if they destroy the True Light. If you don't have to use True Light's effect, great, happy days. And if you can hold back using True Light, again, you're in a much better position. We've already had one interaction on the Pydra, so our board's going to be a little bit weaker, but I'm trying to show you that you can still push for an OTK. So without using True Light, use Spirit's effect, tribute it off to bring back Blue Eyes. This in turn will then bring back Maiden. You've now got the option to go into a Synchro level 8 if you need to, and the benefit, Synchro level 8, Synchro level 7. So you'll put these two, 7, 9, God, maths, let's work. Go into your Spirit Dragon. Spirit Dragon's effect will tribute this off. This will then tribute itself off to get you into Ancient Fairy Dragon. Ancient Fairy Dragon's effect will destroy the Mausoleum, grabbing you the Sangan Summoning, giving you 1,000 life points. You're now up on life points. Now, obviously, if they stop your Ancient Fairy Dragon, which means you don't get access to the Sangan Summoning, you still have the ability of True Light to either revive the Blue Eyes, and that gives you a little bit more of an aggressive push, or you still have the True Light to get you into your wishes, and then move on from there. So in an ideal scenario, before I blow up the Mausoleum and grab myself the Sangan Summoning, I should definitely be playing True Light to set me the wishes, wherever it may be. Set me the wishes. There we go. Activate the wishes. Get rid of... I mean, none of these are going to be that much help for me, but I suppose... Let's get rid of the game. No. Get rid of the Fardra. It's harder to get Fardra out of the hand. So get rid of the Fardra. Grab you your Sage. And again, we're going second, so grab Sage and grab Raw. There we go. So do this. Obviously, you can't special summon anything that is not a dragon. Actually, are we dragon locked? No, I don't think we are dragon locked at this exact moment in time. So then we'll go additional normal summon of your Sage first. Sage effect can grab you an Effect Veiler for a follow-up. It can grab you a Master for a follow-up. It really is up to you. So I'm actually going to go for Effect Veiler. Not that I shouldn't be able to guarantee the OTK, but it just gives you that idea. So now what this gives me the ability for is Ancient Fairy Dragon, destroy this, Sangan Summoning, gain 1,000 life points. Now threaten these to go into a Crystal Wing, which now means I'm semi-protected as well. I don't really need to worry so much about certain interactions. And then, of course, I've now got the ability of going Sangan Summoning, activate this, get rid of the Genroku, or the Effect Veiler because it's a guaranteed search you've had. This will then allow you to, well, you'd add then discard. This will then allow you to add a Genroku. This will then trigger the Genroku you've just added to summon itself down. Tribute off the Genroku, get you into your Chandra. And go into battle phase. Actually, don't... Yeah, probably should go into battle phase. Like, the Raw's not really going to help us here because you'd bring back a Blue Eyes, but it has to come back in defense. So, it doesn't really help you do anything. We'll go into battle phase. Obviously, you could attack with Crystal Wing if you want to. You could attack with Chandra if you want to. Actually, no, what am I talking about? Duh. Activate Raw. Jesus, that's such a stupid thing to say. This is what happens when you get blindsided on a Tenpai. You'd activate Raw during your turn. Of course you would. Because you've got wishes in the graveyard. Duh. It's the whole point of the Blue Eyes engine. Or like one of the points of the Blue Eyes engine in this deck. Jeez. Neo. Into Tyrant. There we go. Brain work. Battle phase. Tyrant. Attack, 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 attack. Clear off your opponent's entire board. Happy days. Attack with Chandra. Chandra's effect. Special from the deck. Pydra, because you need that non-tuner. Great success. Attack with Pydra. So that's 15. Like, ignore any battle damage over this one. That's 15 and 17 already. Then use effect of Chandra or Pydra. Doesn't matter. Go into Biden. Biden's effect. Bring back a Fadra. Fadra's effect. Bring back a Chandra. 26, 16, 15. These four have all attacked. Crystal Wing still hasn't attacked. Activate Fadra's effect. Go into another Synchro 7 if you want to. Or, of course, you just go into another Synchro 10. Transcendent shifts all of your opponent's monsters that are left back to attack. Maybe there was cards that couldn't be destroyed by battle. Transcendent attacks it, does more damage. Chandra can attack it to do more damage. Crystal Wing can attack it, do more damage. Biden comes back, do more damage. Like, you kind of see where we're going here. Like, this is just aggression, aggression, aggression. And most of it happens during the battle phase, which is mental. As long as you remember to use Tyrant Dragon. Otherwise, yeah, bit of a brain fart. You go into battle phase, your opponent goes, nope, you can't go back into the main phase. You go, I'm still going to OTK you, but it's really annoying that I could have made it easier on myself. Okay, so the final test stand going first. So we're now going to shuffle up one more time. We're going to card up one more time, and we're going to show you the aggressive nature of it. So even with like a relatively weaker hand in our test stand number 2, you still kind of saw the process behind it. Obviously, when you're playing Blue Eyes with a deck, it's not going to be the most perfect. Like, if you wanted to play Tenpai at its most perfect and only go second, then of course you'd play the board breaker version. What I like about this is the fact that it means Tenpai can go first, great success, and it just enhances the OTK abilities of going second with Blue Eyes or with Tenpai, which is pretty cool. So, shuffle up, cut up, there we go, unstick, and final test stand, going second being 1, opponent gets dashed, 2, Blue Eyes stays in hand, 3, 4, 5, opponent gets Veilered, and 6, Druid Swarm. Okay. So, again, not the most ideal start, but at least we get to start off with Master, which will grab us the Effect Veiler. Now you can turn your Master. I suppose this is a good way to show how you get into the Tenpai engine without going through like a hard open up a Tenpai monster. So you go into Spirit. Spirit will grab you Mausoleum, wherever it may be. Mausoleum. Activate Mausoleum, target Spirit. I mean, I don't need to, but at least it puts that Blue Eyes in the graveyard. Like, you don't want to reveal you have a Blue Eyes in the hand until you absolutely have to. Because we are currently Dragon Locked, Spirit, Tribute off, bring back Blue Eyes. We've got our additional Normal Summon, which is why it's good that we got to loop back the Veiler. If you didn't have Veiler, that would be a little bit trickier. Normal Summon down the Veiler is the additional summon. Put these two together. Ancient Fairy. We've already used our additional normal. We've got Spirit, still got Raw, we've got Druid Swarm. Ancient Fairy, destroy Mausoleum. Grab you Sangan Summoning. There we go. Activate the Sangan Summoning. Add one, ditch one. Obviously, you're going to want to add the Genroku because we've used up all our normal summons. Get rid of the Blue Eyes. Special one down the Genroku. Genroku tributes itself out. Works its way to Pydra. Pydra's effect. Works its way to Kaiman. Now, there's no wishes, so this is actually quite a good one to show you that, well, number 1, how you get from Blue Eyes to Tenpai, and number 2, what happens if you don't get Tyrant, acts into Tyrant. So, I can activate Raw, doesn't really add me anything. I mean, it would add me a Dragon Seals. That's pretty much about it. But even then, we'll go Battle Phase. I suppose the one benefit of keeping this on as well, this one allows us to go into another level 10. Oh no, it won't. This is not a tune-on. Ignore that. Battle Phase. Attack with Ancient Fairy Dragon, attack with Hydra. That's 2 attacks, okay? Then what you can do is you can activate the Sangan Kaiman. Sangan Kaiman will add you and then summon you. So we'll add Chandra, summon the Chandra. Declare with Chandra. Chandra's effect gets you into Fadra. So we've attacked with these two so far. We now attack with Chandra. Obviously on the assumption that we have enough to make sure they don't die. Keep that in mind. Chandra's effect or Hydra's effect, whichever one you want to do. Synchro these two. Go into Bident. Bident's effect brings back Chandra. Attack with Chandra again. Fadra's effect, bring back Hydra. Attack 26, attack 15, attack 16, attack 17. Then you use the effect of your Fadra and Chandra. Might as well. Go into another 7. Meteor Burst, attack for 25. Hydra's effect, Synchro Summon, go into another 10. Transcendent Dragon, attack for 3k. Obviously shifting everything to attack. And then you've still got Bident's effect in the grave. Summons itself back, attack for 26. So that should be pretty much game. And then if you are worried, if at any point before you Fire Lock yourself or Fire Dragon Lock yourself, if you do that, you just go Druid Swarm. And then you've got loads of lights. So you've got Blue Eyes, Veiler, Blue Eyes, Master, and Spirits. You do that first. Bring down the Druid Swarm, that's another 20. And then if you needed to get rid of something else, of course, you have the ability of going Chandra. And rather than Synchro into the 7, you'd bring back the Druid Swarm. So our board would be something like this. You'd bring back the Chandra and you'd actually Synchro these into another 10 instead. Which would give you this, and then it means that when you use your Bident with your Hydra, you'd go into a Transcendent. So, and again, this can destroy the Sangan Summoning during the battle phase if you need to. This is all just overkill, but you just attack, attack, attack. Yeah, it's so aggressive, so aggressive. It's one of the very few decks that I look at it and I go, you know what? I feel it might be over aggressive, like too much. Like, you don't need to be doing this much, but you can, kind of thing. Anyway, I hope this has given you a bit of an insight into the deck. If you do have any questions at all, by all means, put them in the comments down below. I'll try and link the profile back in the description as well, so you can kind of jump between the two if you haven't seen the profile as of yet at the time of viewing this video. But yeah, any questions, comments below, more than happy to answer them as always. For now, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.